Evening. Today we have been putting the rotors in. I got the rotors in the back, and honestly, after I took them out, I knew exactly how to set it up to put them back in, and it took 45 minutes to have both rotors in. It really was not bad. Use the skid steer, that's super handy. And then once you got the front of the rotor in the rotor hole, it was really easy. So with the visibility of that, and if you have the tailboard down, you can see another 1.5 feet in, and you can really guide it in pretty easy with the rotor and just doing it by yourself. And then once you set that in there, you can literally unstrap it and just push it in the rest of the way by hand. Super easy. Now we're gonna get in the tank, do the bearings, and we're gonna check, make sure the grease lines work, and start installing everything. We'll time the rotors at the end. We're gonna do a good job here. With the grease banks on these Lexion combines, the best thing you can do is if you have something, a part that's on the grease bank, put grease through it until you see fresh grease coming out, because some of those lines will plug. You think you're greasing it, but you're really not doing much. So these are the two rotor bearing grease zerks, and we're just gonna get the gun on there, put like 15 shots through it, and see what comes out in the grain tank. So if you look in there, you'll see the grease fitting right there, and we got fresh grease coming out of it. So that line bolts up to the line in this housing, and it feeds grease into where the bearing is here, and they are designed so that you physically can't over grease them. If you look at the bearing on there, this is where it takes grease on the outside and then it pushes it through, and then the front of that bearing doesn't have a seal on it, so then it just pushes out of that bearing really easily through these slots here, and it just falls into the rotor. So I give them 50 shots every day. You can't over grease the rotor bearings, so I try to keep them top shape. I don't have the rotors all the way slid in so that I have room. You can take this housing and bolt it up there and put it on an angle, and it fits fine. And then you can get it on these pins and start a bolt on one side, and then just pull up the other side and get this whole front faceplate bolted on fairly decently. So what you don't want to do is clean your stuff up there and then drop your rotor cover cap while you're cleaning it into the combine. Thankfully, I was on this side and it was still on the concave, but that could have been worse. I mean, it's pretty big. It would be hard to get in somewhere, but you never know where it's going to end up. Anyways, back up to the top. I guess we do need to put this cover plate back on. Nope. We'll get that one tightened up. It took some finagling, but we got the plate on there. It's just sitting on there. It's not bolted on yet. We were cleaning our cap and we dropped it. When you set it in there, there is a plastic bushing, because that housing is tapered on the end, and then this slides in to center it on the housing. Like that. So looking at the cap, we're gonna bolt this on, because this bolts to the bearing, and it also interlocks with that front housing on the front of there, and you bolt it on with the drain facing up, and you really only can put it on one way because the tabs are different sizes, but the drain faces up and squirts grease up and out when you purge it every single day. So I don't have my rotor sitting on anything. I literally just slid it in here, and you get it lined up side to side decently, and then you can put your two bolts in there. And once you get them started, like, they're just finger tight right now, but once you have them in there, you know, you can kind of start playing with the plate and trying to spin it and get it lined up decently. And now they're finger tight, and our bolt holes here, wow, they're pretty close. So we'll see if we can't get one of these to line up decently enough, and then from there we'll get one lined up over here or get it on the pin, and we'll be off to the races. So we got that bolt in there just by, you know, pivoting this. It lines up. You'll always be able to get one in pretty easily, even if the rotor's sitting on the ground. And then now I just have a strap on this side lifting up, and we're gonna be able to lift it up here, and I think get it pretty close to lined up here, as long as I don't snap my strap. There we go. This right here is a dowel where it's sitting on. So we're gonna be right there. Let's get a few more bolts in here and start sucking it in. That whole situation worked pretty well. We got a bolt started down there, here, and then two over here.
So that's enough to hold everything. Now before I get it too tight, because there's still some gap here, which gives me some room to get that grease line on, because once you tighten it up, then that grease line, it's a lot harder to get on that nut. So we'll put the grease line on, then we can tighten this all up and do it again over there. We are very close to being done in the Grand Tank here. We got our second cover on. That one's all done and buttoned up. We got this one placed. The key is really just pivoting this front plate till you can get one of the bolt holes lined up on this side or that side, and then from there you just put a strap on there and lift, because then it'll just lift that side up easily enough. And once they get on the pins, there's 2 of them, then you're just good to go. So we're going to tighten this all up, and then we're going to go to the back end and work on timing the rotors and getting the gearboxes on. We're done in the Grand Tank now, and now it's time to work on getting the rotor gearboxes on and up and in there. And I would say this is arguably the worst part of the job, although I think I figured some things out since last year when I had the boxes off on my other combine to make it go a bit smoother. And it's very important that we get things timed, and I'm hoping the new way I'm going to do it is going to work well for what I'm doing. So let's go take a look at the boxes. Actually, I got to bring another one in actually, because I just put one back together yesterday. I had to press one of the flanges on since we got it resealed. And I think I'm going to run through how we're going to do it. Here's one of the boxes. They're fairly heavy and a pain to get up and in there, but it's got a big splined shaft on it, and that has to slide into the rotor. But you have to time the rotors so that they're both working in sync with each other, and you do that by, either making sure the grease zerks are, because there's one on the bottom of each one, or one in there, not necessarily the bottom, but you want to have the grease zerks lined up perfectly together, or you want both. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 kickers. You want both the kickers to be in the same spot in travel so that they're spinning equivalent with each other. Last time I did it by taking on and off the gearbox a bunch of times, trying to move it a spline or 2. But this time, I think the plan's gonna be, because I'm sure it's not a perfect like 3-to-1 ratio going in or out. I hope not, at least. I hope it's not a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1. I hope it's like a 1.5 to 1, something like that, so that we can just spin these boxes a bunch of times until we get things lined up perfectly, and then we can put our couplers together in the middle of the boxes, and that's how we're going to get them timed properly, or at least that's how I'm going to try this time. Here's another tip for anyone working on rotor gearboxes or the rotors and trying to get them off. There is a coupler that goes in between that joint and the first box. You have to get that out to get the rest of it disconnected, and it is the worst, but we have a solution that makes it way easier. There's 4 bolts holding that main bearing in, which goes through the wall to this pulley. If you loosen those 4 bolts off like 1/4 inch, and then I just throw the bolt in for the dog bone on the end and strap it up so the pulley's not dangling down or getting all sideways on you, then it gives you enough room to get that coupler out really easily, and that was a game changer for me and made these jobs way better. So keep that in mind. So now we're up on the back here with our first gearbox. That's gonna go on this outer rotor here. We're gonna grease up the splines really well, make sure they're all covered. And then we will try and manhandle that up there, get it slid in, and then from there we'll probably use a strap going over that bar to lift it up, because it'll be low because this rotor is sitting down. We got our box hanging here with the strap. We got it pretty close. Now we're going to use the bar, pry the box back a bit, because we were trying to line up. You can see there's a dowel pin on either side and a guide hole in the middle. Got to get those lined up, and then we're going to start throwing our bolts in. Once we get 2 bolts in, then we can get rid of the strap and get things tightened up. And we're making good progress, really. Here we go. We got the box fully bolted up and in, which is nice. Now our rotor turns so we can see if our front feed plates that we put on the rotor new are going to hit that front plate or not. Sounds good to me. Sure, they could be a bit more aggressive, I'm sure, and a little bit tighter, but they're also going to be a lot better than what was on there, so I think we're just going to leave it at that. Now we'll work on getting the second box in. Here you can see the grease zerk. And the rotors spin like that, and they spin opposite of each other. So I line them up, I put the grease zerk to the bottom on either one, and then the paddles are both facing each other like that, and then you know they're timed. We got the second gearbox up here. Now we'll get our strap over it, lift it up again, get our bolts in, and then we can time it, and then you join these couplers together, and then from there we can get this coupler in, which this one. It's the one that's a pain to get out unless you loosen this bearing that's right there. And then this one, it's got a recessed area there and a protruded area there. It only goes in one way, boom, like that. It's a real pain to get out if you don't loosen that first. Okay, I have never timed the combine like this, or the rotors like this. I always did it by on and off at the boxes, and that was horrible on my back. I'm hoping this is way simpler and easier and quicker, but I don't know yet, because not only do you have to get the rotors in time, like right now they're pretty close, but the coupler is not lined up at all. So we're gonna keep spinning them, because you should have an infinite adjustment, because it's not a 1-to-1 gear ratio here. That eventually I should find the right spot. So where are we? Okay, grease zerk on the bottom on that one. Uh-oh. Grease zerk on the bottom on that one. All right, they're not, well, they're close-ish. So I think now we spin one of these until we can get it fairly close, and hopefully it works, and if not, we have to spin the other one. But I'll be back and let you know how it went. Well guys, I think that's definitely the way to do it. It took 3 turns, and then I got them to a point where they're looking pretty even. So that gear, or that grease zerk, straight down, and that one straight down. I mean, shoot, they're real close. I don't know if I'm gonna get closer. It's also deceptive because this bends may be different than this one based on how tight it is, but as long as the grease zerks are both perfectly facing down, it should be good. Man, they're close. I don't know that I'm gonna get them closer. Okay, this was definitely the play. So it was close, but it wasn't exactly where I wanted it. And it was every 4 turns, it would line up again close, but it would be just a little bit different. So we turned this, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 times. Doesn't take that much work to do. But now things are lined up just perfectly here where the grease fittings are the same spot. So now we can get a hammer in here, pound these couplers back together, tighten them up, work on getting that in. It's going together really well, and I've learned a lot of things from doing all these jobs previous times that has made this job run super smoothly. Okay, we just put some penetrating oil on there, and you pound those together, and I am very happy with it. They're all spinning nicely at the same time. And let's check on our grease zerk one more time, make sure we're still doing good. There we go, bottom there and bottom there. Oh, that looks perfect. Okay, now we need to get that in there. What's up, buddy? You helping?
If I would remember how gets it on.
I don't think you're gonna come up here right now, buddy. We just gotta be careful. Technically, you're not supposed to stand on this anyways, so I don't want to hurt you. Okay, we got that in there. It would be easier if my guy was here today helping me. He would pull that out a bit, but it is loose, so because it was loose, I can use a hammer and pound that thing in there, and well, that's in there now. We're gonna get these tightened up, suck it in here, and then we'll work on getting the bolt holes lined up there, which once we get those bolt holes lined up and some bolts through it, we can let our strap off on the outside, and then our pulley won't fall because it's bolted together here. It's all coming together really well. We've been making good progress on this. it's pretty much a day between putting in the rotors, putting the front bearings on, getting the gearboxes on, timed, and putting all the rest. It's about a day project. I don't have my guy here, so we're gonna have to wait on tightening that. But we're gonna put our cover plates on now for the back that seals up this so that the straw drops down and doesn't shoot into the rotors. And then we can get oil in the boxes and keep getting some things done. Buddy, that's a sweet tractor, dude. Show him a wheelie. Ah, whoa, whoa, whoa. You got my hose, buddy. There you go. Things have all gone back together extremely well. We got the backing plate on it. I'm gonna get up there with a grease pail or oil pail and open our drains because I got new crush washers for our plugs. We got the bottom drain plugs and the fill plugs. They're all getting new crush washers. And you do have to drop or put it in straw position to get some of the bolts on the bottom for that bottom plate, but that's obviously easy enough. We're getting really close. And also a side note with these Lexion combines, there's only 2 gearboxes that get 75 W90 synthetic. The rest can get just normal 80 W90, like regular gear oil, the cheap stuff. Rotor gearboxes, they get the 75 W90 synthetic because they go through a lot, and then the main drive gearbox on the engine, it also gets the synthetic good stuff. We got our 7590. We're topping up our boxes. We haven't tightened that up yet, but that's easy enough to do. Pretty simple and straightforward, and that's gonna wrap up this job. Now, once we get the drive back together for the rotors over here, then we can run everything, check it out, make sure it's working. And the last thing we may have to do is adjust this tailboard plate because there's a sensor up there that tells you whether or not the tailboard is up or down, and that engages or disengages your chopper. So we may have to adjust that depending if things got a little bent or moved when we're putting it all back together, because that sensor is a part of this bottom plate that we bolt back on later. I have a lot of people asking questions about specific jobs that I do on these combines, because these Claas combines, there's not a whole lot out there. So I make these videos, and the rotor bearings, or a lot of people don't even know about timing the rotors on these things. The rotors are a common thing that I have questions asked about. So that's how we're gonna do it. I appreciate you guys watching, hanging out, and learning, and we'll see you on the next one.